Hello, everyone, and welcome to SolarWinds Day. We're thrilled to have you with us and share the next generation of our observability platform, specifically for hybrid multi-cloud environments. Like you, we understand that the modern IT landscape is constantly evolving. Organizations rely more than ever on their digital ecosystem's health, performance, and security while dealing with increasing complexity, constrained budgets, and limited talent. As organizations strive to modernize their technology stack to improve efficiencies, reduce costs, and meet growing customer expectations, they are simultaneously adopting and optimizing hybrid IT infrastructure, combining on-premises data centers, managing multiple cloud instances, and optimizing SaaS applications. Woof. Turns out, this is really hard. And to no one's surprise, hybrid IT is here to stay. Last year, 72% were hybrid, and the numbers are even higher for mid-size and larger organizations, closer to 82%. Unfortunately, this often results in a tech landscape that is extremely complex and nearly impossible to manage. 76% of organizations cite ongoing cloud operational management as one of their most critical challenges. Until now, few solutions have been available in the marketplace, specifically built to meet the monitoring and observability needs of these complex hybrid IT environments. The reality is most monitoring and observability vendors force you to compromise. They focus more on cloud or on-prem, forcing you to prioritize one side or the other regarding what you monitor and how you deploy it. It's crazy, and either way, you end up with a gap. And if you fail to close this hybrid observability gap, you face significant negative consequences, including degraded technology performance, prolonged issue identification and resolution times, damaged customer experiences because you miss your SLAs, you lose business and you get negative reviews from angry customers, and you get reduced return on investment from your technology, which impacts your bottom line and hurts your future growth. At SolarWinds, we're laser focused on helping customers like you close the hybrid observability gap. SolarWinds Observability is designed to give you deep end-to-end visibility into your complex hybrid IT environments. Now, there's 3 key things we want you to take away from today. First, don't let the complexity of your hybrid IT landscape be the barrier to your success. SolarWinds helps you achieve results you can only get with comprehensive, full-stack hybrid IT visibility, whether your environment is on-prem, cloud-native, or most likely, a combination. Second, ensure your observability solution is future-proofed with the ultimate in flexibility and scalability to meet your needs today and tomorrow. Don't let your observability vendor dictate how to deploy and manage your solution. Ensure you have a smooth, cost-effective runway to modernization and SaaS when the cloud is in your roadmap. SolarWinds Observability is offered both as self-hosted and as SaaS. You can self-host it in your own data center, private or public cloud instances, or you can simply choose our SaaS option and let us do the work for you. And if you're on-prem today and you want to move to SaaS tomorrow, ensuring you have built-in, ever-expanding integration between the 2 options make it easier to transition than a typical rip and replace deployment. So don't get stuck. On-premises environments also differ significantly from cloud environments. We all know that. And our SolarWinds Observability self-hosted and SaaS solutions are tailor-made to deliver the most comprehensive hybrid IT visibility and offer distinct capabilities to meet each environment's unique needs. Third, SolarWinds is committed to delivering truly next-generation solutions, revolutionizing IT management with the power of SolarWinds AI and AIOps. We're continuously expanding our AIOps capabilities to provide new predictive insights and smarter alerting. We're optimizing IT service management by leveraging generative AI. We're adding more integration and automation to our products and services to enhance efficiency and effectiveness. Now, I'm honored to introduce our President and CEO, Sudhakar Ramakrishna, who's been deeply engaged with our customers for over 3 years. Using that knowledge helps guide our investments and keeps them grounded in what matters most to you. Sudhakar, welcome.
Thank you, Brian. For more than 25 years, SolarWinds has built simple, powerful, secure solutions by listening to and learning from our customers, partners, and our THWACK user community. Over the last 3 years, I have had the good fortune of meeting many of you and our customers and partners across all geographies and industries. These conversations have given us a more complete view of your challenges and helped us shape our strategy for products and offerings. Tool sprawl, alert fatigue, hybrid IT visibility, cost and complexity, application and infrastructure performance, issue resolution time, security challenges, and lost productivity are themes I repeatedly hear from our customers. We designed our AI-powered SolarWinds platform to address customers' current and future challenges on their hybrid journey and aim to deliver the best time to value and the best time to detect and resolve issues in your hybrid and multi-cloud environments. We deliver exceptional value to our customers by helping, first, automate multi-cloud environments through auto-discovery, asset management, runbook automation, and integrity checks, reducing complexity and increasing productivity. Next, we deliver a comprehensive full-stack observability across network and cloud infrastructure, applications, databases, and users to help identify and isolate issues quickly. Third, we achieve hybrid visibility with a single pane of glass across on-premises and cloud workloads, a common and increasing challenge for customers leading to tool sprawl. And last but not least, we help customers remediate issues faster by uniquely integrating observability and incident management. Our solutions are designed to empower customers with comprehensive visibility and seamless management of their hybrid IT environments. We gather data, including from third parties, and intelligently correlate information from disparate systems, whether on-premises or in the cloud. And we simplify the lives for network, IT, cloud, dev, and SecOps teams to proactively prevent problems before they occur and resolve issues rapidly when they arise through machine learning-powered anomaly-based alerts and predictive capabilities, and AI ops and generative AI-assisted capabilities that we will continue to develop and expand. Of course, our ultimate sign of progress, however, is satisfied customers actively deriving the benefits we strive to deliver. While we have a number of customers and we are fortunate to count them as our customers, I'll highlight a few customers that are realizing great time to value and time to detect and respond to their incidents from and with our solutions. L&F Distributors, which is a wholesaler for Anheuser-Busch, reduced resolution time by 60 to 80% with SolarWinds. Just imagine the productivity improvements and the cost improvements that we delivered. And this was done across 6,400 retail stores. So a large-scale deployment with tremendous value derived from SolarWinds solutions within a matter of 3 to 6 months from the time they procured our solutions. Silverback Systems eliminated 75% of IT issues with our solutions because they gained integrated visibility and were able to consolidate their tools and had common alerting across their entire infrastructure. Our platform journey, however, will be ongoing and continuous to address the needs of our customers. Brian is unveiling some very exciting new capabilities today. and I'll hand it back to him to provide you with more details.
Thanks, Sudhakar. Today, we're announcing exciting new innovations that we packed into SolarWinds Observability, making it more comprehensive and robust, ready to meet your complex hybrid IT operational challenges and close your observability gap. Today, we're bringing these market-leading, user-loved network and infrastructure monitoring capabilities to our SaaS observability offering. What does this mean for our customers like you? Capabilities such as network performance monitoring, traffic flow, and path analysis, and infrastructure monitoring for physical and virtual servers, which you have long loved in our self-hosted solution, are now available in our SaaS observability solution. We've also greatly expanded cloud infrastructure monitoring capabilities across our self-hosted and SaaS options. There is now more coverage for AWS and Azure cloud services, more cloud dashboards, more coverage for containers, and more cloud databases, and Google's coming soon. We have also significantly expanded coverage for SD-WAN and wireless access points for our self-hosted option, covered more devices in our vulnerability and risk dashboard, and made extensive performance and scalability updates to drive efficient cost profiles for your infrastructure overhead. Significantly increasing Polar capacity will reduce your infrastructure costs of Polars by up to a third, meaning lower total cost of ownership without sacrificing anything. Finally, we've also introduced many new AI and AIOps-driven capabilities. We've integrated generative AI into our Service Desk product to improve incident resolution, customer responses, and reporting. We've improved our AI-based anomalous alerting and intelligent alert clustering to help reduce mean time to resolution, get rid of that alert noise. And we've added AI-based log pattern analysis to proactively recognize and alleviate potential performance bottlenecks before they even occur. In line with these new innovations, we've combined our self-hosted and SaaS observability solutions under a single banner, SolarWinds Observability. You can purchase and deploy SolarWinds Observability as self-hosted software or as a cloud-native SaaS solution, whatever makes the most sense for your organization now and in the future. Now, I'll turn things over to our product experts, the people you've been waiting to see, so they can showcase a few of these enhancements to our observability solutions in much more detail. Crystal, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. I'm Crystal Taylor, SolarWinds Evangelist, and I have with me here two very special people, Jeff Stewart and Abigail Norman.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to be here.
And we're going to share with you some new and exciting things about our observability offerings.
We know that hybrid IT is here to stay, and we know that our customers need that full visibility, but customers who are in an on-premises environment may have more compliance needs or regulatory needs and may need specific visibility into that or into their security posture, for example, whereas our customers who are operating in a more cloud-hosted environment may need more visibility into DIM and APM and an understanding of what's happening in that part of their environment. So while SolarWinds Observability self-hosted, hybrid cloud observability, now has a lot more capabilities to look up into the cloud, and SolarWinds Observability SaaS has a lot of capabilities to look down into those on-premises environments so that either solution can really deliver this rich visibility across hybrid IT environments. They also have these unique aspects that are specifically designed for nuances that they may have in their environments.
Yeah, so as you hit on, one of the key advantages of our SaaS offering is you don't have to manage all of that infrastructure, right? Quick time to value, you can get it up and running in a matter of minutes and monitoring and observing both your on-premises infrastructure, but also your cloud-native applications.
Yeah, and one of those similarities that you mentioned earlier is really that you can get that visibility, that full stack visibility in both spaces, which we are going to show today.
And in the spirit of reducing management overhead, Jeff, there's also some improvements that we've done on the SolarWinds Observability self-hosted side, right?
Yes, very true. So a lot of focus on total cost of ownership and how we reduce the amount of infrastructure required to run our self-hosted observability offering.
And some of the features that we're going to share with you today on the self-hosted side of things are in RC right now, which is Release Candidate. They are fully supported. And if you're interested in that, we are going to pop links into the chat to give you more details on those release candidates. So let's dive right in. We're going to start with our SaaS offering. One of the things that I think is really interesting that we do in the SaaS offering is the health scores.
Yeah, so Health Score is a new way to quickly identify troubled areas of your environment. So it looks at an entity or a device, and leveraging our deep expertise of understanding networks, servers, applications, and all the infrastructure around that, we're able to quickly pinpoint if there is an actual issue and what that issue is. And so by looking at that health score, you can easily navigate to where you might have issues.
It's very exciting. So we're going to jump right into some of what we want to show today, and we will start in the network. Today, we're going to talk about what we can do monitoring from the SaaS offering down into your network. So this is kind of your network overview page. And you've got your overall health, which we can see here, but we've got a good list here. You can see your health scores right away. You can see some of the kind of general things that you would expect to see, response time, CPU utilization, that kind of thing right here. And we can dive into any of these to get further details. But also up here at the top, we've got several tabs available for you to look at. So there's different things in here. There's NetFlow, there's topology mapping. Let's dive into a core switch, which we can look at right here. It's not having a good time right now. And that's good for us to know, right? Like here we have our history, right? Which you would expect to see of how it's been doing over time. And these red dots are when there's an alert detected, right? That's important to know as well. We scroll down here, we can get the stats you would expect to see. You're getting your response time, you're getting your packet loss, CPU utilization, memory, all the things you expect to get from any monitoring of any network device that you would want. And you also have the topology that you would like to look at, right? It looks very similar to what we have built on the self-hosted side of things, because why reinvent the wheel? If something works and it looks great and it gets the information across, I think we use it again.
Yeah, and I think this actually is really helpful for our customers who are moving from self-hosted to SaaS, and they're using SolarWinds Observability self-hosted, but they have either cloud mandates or other reasons within their business that they've decided to move over to a SaaS solution. We have paths built in to help them transition to SolarWinds Observability SaaS. And when there's areas like this where it makes sense to have a similar user interface or similar visualization that they're already accustomed to, they don't have to relearn that. They're going to see things that look very familiar and feel familiar, even though it is a newer interface than we have on the SolarWinds self-hosted side.
Yep, exactly. We're taking the greatest hits from the Orion platform and from SolarWinds Observability self-hosted and have built that into our SaaS offering, which is really cool to see.
There are certainly new things here, but not everything is new. And that's comforting, right? We don't need to completely reinvent everything. There's plenty of, as you said, greatest hits. There's plenty of great things that we've already built that are still useful and can be used from the SaaS offering, and that is fantastic.
And new things like dark mode.
Like dark mode, yeah. We see you, MVPs. So yeah, you get all your information here, same as you would expect. On the other side of things, we can get all of our IP addresses. We can get all of this information that we would expect to see from our device details. All of these look very similar to what you would expect from your network devices, and that's all super exciting. But one of the things here, you can see all this stuff here, flows, ports, VLANs. If you don't have anything in there, it won't show anything in there. You can send that information. You can not send that information. That's totally up to you. So we're going to jump back to the network overview. And this is what we showed you before, right? You can get a high-level view of all of the network devices that we're currently monitoring in our SaaS observability offering. We have this nifty diagnostics tab here. And you can see we have two things here. We have PerStack and we have NetPath. I'm going to start with NetPath, and we're going to look at the SolarWinds front page. And this looks, again, very similar to what we built on the self-hosted side of things. Why reinvent something when it works so well? And if you're unfamiliar with NetPath and you're using our self-hosted solution or the individual modules, and you probably already have it, you should be using NetPath because it is fantastic. I have used NetPath in many environments to help prove where a problem was, like their ISP's fault, for instance, like you're pulling back our traffic, you're throttling our throughput, and that is a problem, right? You can see, you can set a probe up to go anywhere from anywhere, as long as you have access, and then it'll take you through all of the possible routes. And I think that is the beauty of NetPath, is showing you all the possible routes So you're not just getting one trace route of like one possible route and then having to do a bunch of them to try and figure out how that all comes together and where your traffic is failing.
Yeah, and not just within your network, but also your ISP's networks, your CSP, your cloud service providers. And so really helping you identify across multipath, like where a potential issue is that could be affecting a service or application that you're responsible for.
I think this is really helpful when you have those situations where the problem seems intermittent. And the real issue is that part of the path is broken, but there's other ways around. And so it's hard to get that consistent data. This will show it to you.
So now that we've showed you NetPath in our SaaS offering, let's also look at PerfStack. PerfStack is wonderful. It's wonderful. We want to look at a bunch of things that are all connected in one place and how those things are connected. And you can look at this dashboard and get a quick glance from end to end of how that application or whatever is performing. In this case, we have a hybrid cloud front end. So it is going to show you a web server. We've got a switch on there. We've got application server. We've got our database server. We can scroll down here and we can see all of that information in the same place. So if we're experiencing an issue, we can see the whole entire application stack in one spot and see, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, and the ability to overlay these different time series metrics onto a single chart or graph really allows you to identify on a specific issue and what that cause is.
It can really accelerate that cross-team collaboration too, versus using a bunch of different tools that may be presenting the data in a different way and then having to map them to each other to figure out which one's right. Are they differing? Are they working on the same time series? Are they not? Pulling all of the layers of the stack together into one thing can really help accelerate that mean time to resolution for our customers.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it doesn't benefit anyone to work in a silo. And as you just mentioned, like this cross-team collaboration is imperative to making sure that your network is running smoothly at all times, right?
And being able to be more proactive. I think everybody is just fatigued from firefighting and being reactive to things, and that there's a real desire to be more proactive and have greater insight sooner into what problems may occur or when a problem starts to crop up before it becomes a major issue, and being able to get in front of that and having this level of visibility in a single solution, I think really helps contribute to moving that along and helping people be more on their toes and less in a reactive standpoint.
You getting that full visibility into that also means that the intelligence that we built into the platform has a chance to pinpoint anomalies and things that stand out ahead of time. Again, to your point about being proactive, right? We can be a bit more proactive if we know that there's an anomalous behavior going on. There are a couple of different ways to do anomaly detection in the SaaS offering. There are the anomalous alerts, which are similar to the way that they work on the self-hosted side of things, where you set it up to look for anomalous behavior and then alert you. Which is what we're looking at here is our alerts, which are very similar to what we would expect on the self-hosted side of things. And then also, if we go back up to our overview, you can see here we have anomalies that are detected, the health score operations, right? We can say, okay, well, these are specific anomalies to these specific things. And you can see a trend here, right? We have anomalies. This is our databases. We have an anomaly here. So if we click into that, we can now see this was the anomaly that we weren't expecting. You can get that right at a glance, right from the top dashboard, drill down into what that anomaly happened to be, and then you can go explore to figure out how we can resolve that before it becomes a major issue. Then we have experience also on the SaaS solution. Something that we don't have on the self-hosted side of things is we have digital experience monitoring and application performance monitoring. So let's talk a little bit about why we have DEM and APM offerings in the SaaS offering, but not on the self-hosted side.
Crystal, I think what we've really done here is design each of these solutions for the needs of our customers based on what their infrastructure looks like. So we know hybrid IT is here to stay. That's why both our self-hosted and our SaaS solution are designed to give visibility across that entire environment. But for our customers who are really living more in that cloud world, they're more likely to have these DEM and APM needs. They're more likely to be partnering with their colleagues over in the DevOps world. And so we really wanted to bring that whole picture together within the SolarWinds SaaS solution for them.
Awesome. Well, let's show you what that looks like. So we'll start with the digital experience monitoring. So you can see we have lots of monitoring that we're currently doing. We want to look at the swapper here. We're going to take a look. It's not doing good. If it was a real website, we would be concerned about it, right? This website has a customer front end. It has a shopping cart. It has a payment system. And if it's got a bad health score, something is wrong and our customers are unhappy and potentially leaving us for greener pastures.
Yeah, and e-commerce is where we see a lot of our customers leveraging, the DEM functionality, really understanding how their business critical assets are performing for their external customers. And that's the great thing about DEM is it gives you insight into the experience that they're having so you can troubleshoot potential issues that may be impacting your business.
In a very tangible way. I mean, when you're talking about e-com, it is dollars on the table that you may be losing if your end customers aren't able to make those transactions and if they're running into issues. And so it becomes really critical to not have that downtime, to get ahead of any issues and make sure that they can be corrected in advance.
I think this really just highlights the importance that IT plays in businesses today, right? You're no longer the shop that's down in the basement, like managing a couple of services, like you're life support for the business.
More dollars are being spent there because it is incredibly important. We are in a digital world and it is incredibly important that everything behaves the way we expect it to behave. So one of the things I wanted to point out is even though we're in the digital experience part of the platform, we can also still see our topology, right? Anywhere that we're going. So this swapper, as I mentioned, has a front end. We've got an order placement here. We've got front end. We have different things set up to monitor different things. And our inventory is having a problem. Orders are having a problem. Like this is a big problem for us. We want to make sure that we're addressing these needs where we can. So we can dig into this and see kind of what's behaving there and dig in even more, right? We can get view details. We can go even further. And this here looks very similar to what we might have on the self-hosted side of things in AppStack. But it looks very similar, right? We're trying to show you the related entities so you can see everything in one place. You can see what's behaving, what's not behaving. And where the problems might be.
What are the entities and relationships that serve up that application to your end users? And each of those components play a critical part into the performance of the application. And so between DEM and APM, which I think we'll cover in a minute, you get deep insight into your applications, whether they're distributed, microservices, or even classic monolithic applications.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at what we're really here to see, which is our synthetic transaction monitoring. And we'll check this is clearly a failing page. This is for the purposes of demo, right? We want to show you what it looks like. So this is a success. We're getting a success on this. We're checking a product page. It's returning what we're expecting. The test duration is 868 milliseconds, which I guess for this is in the norm. So it's not reporting an issue. And we can see here what the steps are. We can see pictures of the steps. And this is currently, this is the last time it was checked. And these are the screenshots from the last time that it was checked. So if you are having an issue, you'll be able to see at a glance what it looks like for your customer, for your end user, what they would have experienced if they went there and there was a failure. So earlier, we talked a little bit about how the swapper is set up, right? It's got a payment, it's got a front end, it's got a payment option, it's got order options, it's got all these things, right? And we can see here, we moved over to the application performance monitoring side of things, and we can look at some of those things. These are all doing poorly at the moment, right? We're organized by health score, so we can see that they're not doing well. So we'll take a look at the order option. Our health score is not great. So it'll tell you a little bit about the APM instrumentation, right? It's got out-of-date Java. Maybe that's a problem that it's experiencing. You can see how many requests it has. Clearly, this is having an issue right now. It's not reporting back. So we can see that we're experiencing some problems, right? We're not reporting back. That's probably pretty bad. The last request wait we can see is how long it's taking. We can see the response time. All of these things are kind of connected in here. And if we had one that was behaving well, we would see more data in here. And we can certainly jump back over to look at one that's doing a little bit better. The important thing to note here is getting into our traces and our metrics, right? We want to dig in. What's behaving? We've got a duration heat map. What's taking longer than we expect? This one thing took a really long time. Is that the problem that we're having on that part of the application? Is it slowing down enough that it halts the request? That's the question that you should ask. But yeah, you can get into your information here, right? We can dig in even further. We can just keep going farther down in, trying to get information, trying to figure out why it's failing, what the response time looks like on all of that. And we can get individual traces, individual metrics, going back to, we can use our breadcrumb trail up here to go back up to the top. and look at our metrics now. So you can get, these are the metrics that we're collecting on it. And you can have it, if it's not collecting metrics on certain things like this, you watched it expand, right? We can look at things, why it's not collecting that data. Could be a number of different reasons, depends on what we're monitoring, what it's doing.
So Crystal, I think this highlights one of the differences between our SaaS offering and our self-hosted offering, where our SaaS offering has deep analysis into application performance.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have anything like this on the self-hosted side of things. You can augment the self-hosted observability offering with the web performance monitor product to get some of the digital experience monitoring type metrics, but it's not quite to the same level, and it's certainly not as in-depth. So being able to get that visibility deep into those behaviors and metrics is something that's unique to the SaaS offering.
And we talked earlier about the silos and the importance of teams working together. And I think this is a really great step forward, where we had customers before who were on the network team or the infrastructure team, the database team, but then they were trying to work with their counterparts in DevOps who are using totally different tools with totally different data. And this way we can bring all of that together into this one solution where they can use all the entire picture. They can see the entire picture by pulling all of those metrics, traces, logs, along with the rest of their environment together to really have a full understanding of what's happening.
Yeah, the addition of the network and infrastructure things that we can pull in, as well as databases, like we're pulling everything into one place like we've been known to do for such a long time on the self-hosted side. We're trying to do the same thing on the SaaS side of things so we can give you visibility in everywhere that you possibly need it. Well, that was a bit of a look into our SaaS observability offering, and we hope that you enjoyed what you saw. There's definitely people in the chat ready to answer your questions and get you more information if that's what you're looking for. But before we dive into the self-hosted side of the house and show you some of the features and functionality and the new hotness that's coming in for that, I want to talk about a conversation that I had with one of our THWACK MVPs a few weeks ago at our Chicago SWAG event. We got to talk about how they use SolarWinds to monitor their cloud and on-prem infrastructure and kind of the difficulties and challenges that have arrived with hybrid IT and how they're solving those problems. I'm here at Chicago SWAG, where I'm getting to talk to Jake Muszynski about the changing landscape of IT, introduction of kind of the issues that come from hybridizing IT with cloud and on-prem things, and what are the challenges that are presented by that. So Jake, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a SolarWinds engineer, but my job title is a senior system engineer. I've worked at Nationwide Children's Hospital, supporting SolarWinds technologies for over a decade.
Over a decade. That's a long time. I imagine you've seen a lot of new technology and change kind of come in and out as that goes.
Absolutely. It's different all of the time. We are constantly adopting new stuff.
Well, let's start there. What would you say are the kind of unique challenges that are presented by adopting cloud and kind of having to manage and monitor those things as well?
When we adopt cloud, it started off with an island of technology here, an island over here, and another in AWS or Azure. And so we needed to start treating them all together and holistically. And it definitely took some effort and a change in how we approach the cloud. It's not a cloud, it's just an extension of what we do every day.
I like that. It's like a person in a cube in another building. It's just over there, and we still need to manage and monitor it.
That's right. We need to extend what we're thinking about on-prem, extend it out to cover all of those new things.
So how has SolarWinds helped you address those challenges?
They have the built-in dashboards for Azure and AWS, and that is useful. But then when you have things like SaaS offerings, which the more you do this, you're going to start adopting technologies you don't really have control over, but you need to gather some information out of them, deliver service metrics back to the organization so they know just how well that SaaS is performing. Tools like NetPath or even your SAM tools with the API monitors can be really useful for those technologies.
Oh yeah, API monitoring, it can get you almost anything from almost anywhere as long as you can talk to it, right?
Yeah, it's the new common language for these technologies.
Awesome. And would you say that having all of that information in one space is really helpful? Like you mentioned the cloud dashboards, but is pulling that, I mean, obviously Azure and AWS do some of their own monitoring that you can access, but having it in the place of where all your on-prem monitoring is, how's that helped you?
Well, it helps because not everyone can get into those spaces. When you need to show either other parts of IT or other parts of the business what's going on, you don't have to build a new bridge. It's something that they're already used to looking at, and that can be a big help.
For your kind of hybrid environment, what kind of workloads are you monitoring that are occurring in cloud? Is it just the cloud provider services themselves, or are you also monitoring like applications and databases and things like that that live in the cloud?
We'll monitor anything that we can get data on. So we will do how fast do records come back from a SaaS. We will do how well is a database performing. We'll do how much storage are we using. There's not anything we won't look at. We want to have the same tools we have for the rest of our on-prem environment there whenever possible.
As we talked about, technology is evolving, and your adoption of those technologies, it goes over time, and needing to have visibility into those various environments is continuing to be important. So how do you see your adoption of these cloud and maybe SaaS technologies changing over the next couple of years? And how do you think that SolarWinds will help you with that?
The number of things that come in is coming at us at an increasing speed. There are more problems to solve. There are more tools that live in more places. We need the things we're already good at to cover those new things as they come in.
You mentioned earlier that you have been using previously the Orion modules, and now you use self-hosted observability. So how would you say that the transition to self-hosted observability has helped from the legacy modules?
I'm no longer counting elements for one thing, but it's nice to have the whole tool set in front of me. We never had Log Analyzer. There are things that we can now do because that's a new feature to us. We don't have to worry about our scalability, license counts. We have availability engines ready for us. Those types of things are great. And my personal favorite is that I have a lab to work in that stays up all the time. I don't have to rebuild it constantly. That's my personal favorite.
We do love a lab. We talked about how you use the legacy modules and you've moved to the self-hosted observability solution. How challenging was it to move from one to the other?
It wasn't hard at all. All I did was swap the license out and it was ready to go.
So you didn't have to learn anything new, other than maybe the technology pieces that you weren't previously using.
Any modules I didn't already know I had to learn, but they were now there and available to me to use.
Is there anything else that you would like to share about monitoring cloud workloads in the self-hosted observability solution?
Monitoring cloud workloads seems foreign at first, but the more you get to do it, the more you see that there's a lot of commonalities between what you're doing every day and these new things.
Thank you so much for your time and your sharing of your experience with our solutions and with monitoring cloud workloads, which are kind of increasing as we go by.
Thank you for having me.
Special thanks to THWACK MVP, Jake Muszynski, for sharing his thoughts with us and how he uses the SolarWinds solutions to resolve issues in his infrastructure, both in the cloud and on-prem. So something you may have heard us mention before on past SolarWinds days or in other videos and things like that is a component of our platforms, which is called Platform Connect. And what that is effectively a communication tool, right? It's not an extra thing you have to download. It's not an extra thing that you have to and get a license for it. Like you already have, it's already there. You can just use it for several things. One of the things that we have notably mentioned in the past that it's used for is to connect to that machine learning engine in the SaaS offering that's hosted over there so that you can use features like anomaly-based alerts.
It can also be used by our customers who are going through a transition from on-prem to cloud with their monitoring and observability solution. So we know everyone's got hybrid IT and they're making decisions application by application and tool by tool, solution by solution on what they want to host on-prem and what they prefer to have in a cloud environment. And so for our customers who are going through this transition with SolarWinds and have decided that they would like to use SolarWinds Observability SaaS and move off of either their modules, if they're running the Orion modules, or SolarWinds Observability Self-Hosted, which you may be using today as Hybrid Cloud Observability. This is to let them do that at their own pace and go through that migration in a controlled manner and have it be something where it doesn't disrupt their day-to-day and it doesn't become a huge project that they need to undertake, but they can go into SolarWinds Observability Self-Hosted into their license manager. They can turn on Platform Connect, which you should do anyway, so that you're taking advantage of that machine learning and the anomaly-based alerts that are there. It's just part of the solution, nothing to pay for, nothing to do except check that box so you're taking advantage of it, but you can also start sending the data up. And Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit more about what that process looks like for our customers?
Yeah, it's a very seamless process, actually. As you mentioned, you just go into the settings and you enable Platform Connect. And really, two key things that it's hitting on today. One is anomaly-based alerting, but in the future, we'll also take advantage of other SaaS services that benefit our self-hosted offering. And then, again, as mentioned, the transition from self-hosted to SaaS. So really giving users a very instant experience of our SaaS offering with their existing environment.
And our SaaS solution, just like all of our others, has a 30-day trial. So you can go in today, you can turn that on, you can have 30 days to go in and play with it yourself and what it looks like in your environment.
See how you like it if you're trying to move to SaaS or if you have a mandate to move to SaaS. Now, we've talked a bit about how our SaaS offering now has the capabilities to look down into the network from the cloud. But what we're going to talk about now is how our self-hosted solution can do the other way around and look up into the cloud and get your cloud metrics and kind of information that you might need if you have you're not a full cloud environment, but you have some cloud things and you want to get that information in the same place as your other information. Or as you mentioned earlier, if you have compliance needs or things like that where you need to host your solution on-prem or whatever your needs may be, that you can still get that cloud data where you need it.
Yeah, this is really important for us, I think, to meet those customer needs, because while we do have some customers who are moving, there's many who don't want to move or have specific reasons why they want to stay on-prem, but they still need that visibility into that cloud environment. So it's really important for them to be able to do that directly from the self-hosted solution.
Absolutely. One of the ways that we have improved our offerings on the self-hosted side of things for those cloud solutions, right, the cloud monitoring needs, is the new Azure and AWS dashboards, relatively new. And Azure has had some new additions with this release. We support new cloud entities, Azure Managed Instance, Azure MySQL, and Amazon RDS SQL Server. That's really important for you to know if you have those things and you want to get that monitor. But what we're looking at now is our Azure dashboard, and you can see that is like super clean looking dashboard. I love these dashboards. I think they look great. One of the things that's new with this release as well is that with any modern dashboard that you create, you can make these kind of little tabs up here, which is a great improvement for what you might be doing. You can also add a filter, as we have over here, that you can use on those dashboards, which we love to see. We love to see improvements. I want to be able to replace all my dashboards with nice, pretty new things. But on our Azure dashboard, you have a lot of information just right at a glance. This looks sort of similar to what we saw on the SaaS side of the house with our health scores. It's important to note that they're not health scores, though. These are our statuses. But it is at a glance, and you can kind of get a good idea of how your environment is doing and what you might need to be caring about right now. We've got some critical things. That's important. We want to go check those out.
And these kind of visual similarities, Crystal, are exactly what we were talking about earlier, and making sure that transition, if customers do need to move, if you do need to move from self-hosted to SaaS, or that's something that you're interested in, that it's not learning an entirely new system. It is different. It's a slightly different interface, but there's a lot of familiarity there. There's a lot of similarities. And so that you can get up and running really quickly, because there's going to be things in there that you recognize, and tools and features that you have already been using in your environment that you can continue to use in SolarWinds Observability SaaS, if that's something that you decide to move to.
Yeah, this Azure dashboard has more than just that high-level overview. We can dig in even further into the individual bits here, right? We get our network entities. We can see gateways. We can go then explore this data, right? We've got virtual network gateways. If we want to explore it, we can dive into that and take us right to our gateway. So we can see this is our Azure gateway. This is an Azure gateway. We can dive deeper into that. Just constant drill down like you expect to see everywhere else in our platform. If we go back to our Azure dashboard, we also have database here, which is incredibly important, right? We can get our storage, we can get our network, we can get our compute all in one place, all in one dashboard, easy to get to, easy to go drill down into those entities and get to the bottom of whatever we need to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, and this monitoring has been requested by our customers over the last year or so, really as they start that migration of workloads from on-premises to cloud, both in Azure and AWS, and even getting some requests for GCP. So excited about the future there.
That's exciting to hear that we're looking into the future and seeing what else we can add. I think that it's incredibly important to kind of see all of these new entities. We're constantly improving the ability to monitor new things. We know that things are constantly evolving, right? You're adding new things to your environment all the time, and the needs are there. And while we have needs to make custom monitoring available, it's always nice when we can add it to where it's kind of like an easy thing. Like we already have set it up for you. You don't have to go build custom polling or anything like that. Those options are available for stuff that we don't support out of the box. But I like seeing that we are continuing to improve the rate at which we add device support.
Yeah, especially with this last release, you'll see a number of new vendors and devices that we've added to the offering, but also more importantly, kind of a new framework is coming out of this to allow us to accelerate how we add devices to the platform itself. Not only from SolarWinds engineering, but kind of the nirvana of this is how do we get this into the hands of our users?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're the ones who need it. Earlier, we mentioned, and this can be used with our cloud entities as well, we mentioned some of the intelligence features, right? We were talking about Platform Connect and how it is used to connect up to the machine learning component that exists in the SaaS solution, so that you can use the anomaly-based alerts. So let's take a little bit of a look into what that looks like. Now, on the last SolarWinds Day that you and I did together, we covered anomaly-based alerts in a little bit of detail. We covered some of the new entities that you can use anomaly-based alerts for and kind of what that looks like. So I'm not going to dive into it too deeply here, but I think it's important to note that it is using that machine learning component, and it does require you to connect up to the cloud in order to use anomaly-based alerts. So if you're not using them now, turn on that Platform Connect and check it out, because they can be extremely helpful in reducing that alert noise and also in getting you information when you need it, even though you didn't maybe know you needed it. One of the other components that we have that we're using intelligence for is Alert Stack. And Alert Stack kind of is a way to show correlated events, right? You have one thing that happened and we don't want to get 100 different alerts because an edge router went down. We want to get one alert that an edge router went down and not get a bunch of alerts for a bunch of different things. Again, it's a way of us helping you reduce that alert noise, right? And it's constantly learning and seeing what is connected, using that topology information, things like that, to see what is connected and how this might affect everything else downstream. It's not a guarantee that the information is going to be there, of course, but obviously the goal is to show you all the connected entities that could be affecting the state of that alert, right? Why did that one thing go down? Here's all the other things that are connected to it. How might those things be affected? How might those things be affecting it?
Yeah, so really not just reducing the number of alerts, but also assisting you in kind of root cause analysis, right?
Yeah.
Like what is the reason that all of these alerts would have fired or all of these devices are not responding now?
And I think one of the neat things about Alert Stack is while anomaly-based alerts does use that machine learning engine, so it requires Platform Connect, so it is exclusive to SolarWinds Observability self-hosted. Alert Stack is available to all of our users who are using our Orion modules as well. So we are building intelligence into those modules as well as SolarWinds Observability self-hosted, and you can take advantage of that today.
One more piece that's incredibly important to cover for our intelligence bit is our mapping technology. It is incredibly important to share with you how much we are working to improve the mapping, because Network Atlas has been deprecated. If you didn't know that, you missed the announcement quite a while back. And it is going to be phased out at some point. And what we're searching for here is improving the parity between Network Atlas and what we offer in our intelligent mapping, right? Intelligent mapping has its own features that are separate from Network Atlas, but we heard you. We know that you need some of the things that are available only on Network Atlas right now, or were, because we've improved even further the parity between Network Atlas and intelligent mapping, and you can now import your Network Atlas maps into intelligent mapping. Use those backgrounds, those things that you've been asking for. We really heard you. We want you to have those things. So here you can see we're sharing a map that includes Azure entities that we were just talking about, as well as some on-prem infrastructure and how those things are connected. And all of that is wonderful, and we love to see those connections and be able to see here kind of how they're behaving, what are our expectations there, what things are not behaving, and maybe we need to go take a look at that even further. Maybe we need to set up a net path in that place, right? That's a crazy amount of time, 286 megabits per second, 96%, it's used a lot. Let's go check it out. Maybe we need to get more information from that. So we can kind of get that at a glance with the mappings. Well, one of the things that we want to talk about that is only on our self-hosted observability solution for reasons that you mentioned earlier of like compliance needs and that kind of thing, which we don't have in the SaaS option, is that we are improving in this release our vulnerability and risk dashboard. There's going to be some additional things in there that can help you with your security needs. So we are adding these CVEs to your dashboard and your management of them. So if we explore your CVEs here, in the new release, you're going to be able to manage these so that if they don't apply to you, right, you no longer have to look at them. You can say that you can change the status to not applicable. Maybe we don't have those things in here. Maybe that functionality is not important to us, or we have it turned off and we're not using it. So we don't need to run those updates to maintain those CVEs. And you don't have to look at a dashboard full of red values all the time.
Security is everyone's responsibility. We all know this. And so bringing this kind of information in so it's really easily accessible from within the entire view, I think is really critical for all of those teams who are using the SolarWinds solution to be able to see what their risk profile is and quickly assess that and identify what actions they need to take to do their part to keep the environment secure.
Yeah, the response from our customers when we first launched this integration was overwhelming. And so we continue to iterate on it, solve new problems, but really focus on security and ensuring that they're as protected as possible by highlighting these CVEs.
Also in our security observability solution here, that it's a tie-in to some of our security products. We have things that monitor your patch management. You can do your configuration management. You can do you can have a CM, right? We have a security event management tool, and we have access rights management. So tying all of that together in this security dashboard is really important, but it is important to know that those are not included as part of the self-hosted observability solution, with the exception of config management.
That's right. They'll still see on the screen, they'll still see the firmware vulnerabilities, they'll still see the policy violations, but these enriching data of the risk assessment that comes in from Access Rights Manager, the critical security updates from Patch Manager, those would be additions that integrate into SolarWinds Observability self-hosted.
Yeah, we really want to help you flesh out your view of your environment, including security in that. Speaking of integrations, since we just covered some of our security observability integrations, we also have database integrations with our Database Performance Analyzer product. And you can get some deep dive insights into how your database servers are performing and how queries are performing, and you can get some real optimization and recommendations, which are super cool, especially if you're not an experienced DBA. They're really helpful to help you kind of fine-tune your database instances across the stack. So getting that visibility also brought in to your observability solution is really helpful for getting that full picture end-to-end application visibility.
Yeah, and this is something where we know how important the databases are. So there is some basic database coverage that's included in SolarWinds Observability self-hosted, but there are a lot of needs to dive deep into what's actually going on with those databases. So to make this easier for our customers who have SolarWinds Observability self-hosted, with purchase of that, we include a license of Database Performance Analyzer. Along with that, you have a year to use that. So if you've purchased this in the past year and you haven't tried DPA, go back and check. You do have access to a license for that. Please give it a try. If you've had it for longer than that and you want to check it out, there's still a 30-day free trial. Or if you're trying everything for the first time, then come on over and try it all together.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. And I think the last thing that I think we should really get into is one more integration that is available to both our SaaS observability solution and our self-hosted observability solution, which is with our Service Desk product.
So the integration from the self-hosted or SaaS observability offering into our Service Desk product is really exciting. There's some really cool things that we've released recently and some things that we have planned. But do you want to talk about what we've done?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of being proactive, having the integration with the Service Desk, you can really take advantage of some of those newer features that we've put out there. We've got some Gen AI features that are really helpful that can help reduce the amount of time it takes you to respond to tickets or to get information to them, right? They can write a response. It can summarize a case for you. So if you're having to pass it off or you have multiple techs working the same case, you don't have to go back and read through every last thing that's been happening. You can just get a quick summary and get started right back on that issue, right? People are telling you that there's a problem. One of the other really exciting things about the Service Desk product is the runbooks, though. That is helping you be proactive. If you have a problem that occurs on a semi-regular basis, maybe it's an account user got locked out or something similar like that. It happens all the time. Maybe there's a set of steps that you're going to take every single time. Build a runbook, and that will automatically start taking it through those things, and you can just get started right away. My thanks to Jeff and Abigail for sharing with me in this adventure, sharing our solutions with you and all the new features and things that you can expect from them to help solve problems where you need them.
Thanks, Crystal. As always, it's been fun.
Thank you, Crystal. It's always great to talk about our products and share the new things with our customers, and I hope everyone gets an opportunity to check it out.
And now I will send it back to Brian for closing remarks.
Thanks, Jeff, Crystal, and Abigail. It's always great to see the product in action with all the new features of SolarWinds Observability. I hope you are as excited as we are about all these new innovations and the future of our solutions. But that's not all. We have one more super exciting announcement related to our database observability offering. No matter what your database environment is like, whether you care about open source databases like MySQL, MariaDB, or Postgres, or cloud databases like Aurora, or maybe you're running SQL Server or Oracle, we have a comprehensive set of solutions built to help you achieve the highest performance from your databases. They also help your applications that rely on those databases so you can have fast performance for your customers. We all know databases are critical to full stack observability. And while database observability is included in SolarWinds Observability SaaS, SolarWinds Observability Self-Hosted provides initial database monitoring and allows you to choose whether to add on deeper visibility through integrated solutions. Today, we are excited to announce a brand new combined license for our database observability products, DPA, Database Performance Analyzer, and SQL Sentry, to unlock even more flexibility. So whether you need the broad coverage of DPA for a variety of open source databases, or the deep SQL Server analysis of SQL Sentry, now you can buy just one license, and you can use it for either product, giving you the freedom and the flexibility to choose the right solution for your environment at the right time. And now, I'm excited to welcome Doug Bennett from Amazon Web Services to talk about observability and generative AI. Doug.
Hello, my name is Doug Bennett, and I'm with Amazon Web Services, and I'm the Global Partner Development Manager, and I manage the relationship with SolarWinds. And SolarWinds has spent a great deal of time talking about their full stack observability solution, and what their commitment is closing out these gaps in visibility and providing broader sets of data to you, their customers, and through the system. So what is the promise that AI brings to that? I mean, is there a way that we can utilize even broader sets of data and interrogate these data in a way that provides us with more nuanced understandings of our observability state and observability stack? So the challenge is, how do we implement AI solutions in a way that is not disruptive, not overly expensive, provides us the ability to provide our customers with a familiar solution, but gives them the ability to utilize AI in a way that's useful to them? Because we're very early on in this journey into AI, and we're still sort of figuring out what it is. So how do we provide that solution in a way, like how do we build the airplane while it's flying in some sense? How do we get there with a solution fast, but do it in a way that's responsible and low risk? So AI can be a transformative enabler in terms of how we deliver observability and by extension also security solutions. The three areas that to me are relevant within this conversation, and I'm sure there are others that people could suggest, are new solution development, enhancing existing solution stacks, and then taking a broad set of investments and providing a true best-of-breed solution. So the ones that to me are most relevant for at least the discussion that I'd like to have are this next mover augmentation and this composite view of best-of-breed. So why do we want to do this? Because AI gives us the ability to skip generations. If you look at India as an example, they moved from the most basic of analog systems with their telecommunications industry to satellite immediately, skipping traditional pillar and post based mobile phone systems. We have the ability to do the same sort of thing here, is that we can skip generations and go immediately into providing AI solutions. That's very exciting and provides us with a market advantage in terms of both marketing as well as technical execution. One of the big benefits, in my view, is broadening even further the set of data that we have. Also providing a more nuanced way of asking questions through a broader set of people being able to access these systems in an understandable way and getting answers out of this system that are meaningful within their daily lives. So one thing that's really worth pointing out here is that traditionally what we've done is as solution developers and as consumers of these solutions is we've run our development based on requirements. So AI has the potential of turning that paradigm on its head and driving it to what are my use cases rather than how do we provide consumers of these solutions a solution that answers unknown unknowns. So let's get into that. What are my unknown unknowns, right? So rather than providing a set of dials and a set of flashing lights, how do we provide solutions that are nuanced in their approach in terms of providing access to people and answering their questions, as I mentioned a moment ago? We want to be able to answer questions such as, give me some scenarios that if they occurred, would put my enterprise security posture at risk, or would put my application at risk of performance hits. If I implemented this particular change, would it break any of my enterprise policies? Would it cause me any performance impact? A common concern that we hear is data storage, because large language models can be massive. They can be basically infinitely large in a sense. What you can do is you can use AI, or we should be able to use AI to optimize these large language model data sets. So, hey, AI, give me the list of data sets you haven't used within some predetermined period of time. And then what data, if I could provide it, would give me better suggestions to enhance application performance. So we're talking about prompt engineering here. The challenge is, how do you ask good questions? So if you'll indulge me just for a moment, if you're familiar with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a great book series, at the end of the first book, the question that our intrepid heroes went to ask the supercomputer DeepThink was, what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? The answer was, anybody back of the room? 42. So this DeepThink supercomputing AI lamented that if they had asked less vague questions, I would have been able to provide a better answer. But to be able to answer those questions, those vaguer questions better, I have to rebuild myself. And what did DeepThink build itself into? Earth. So here we are. We're back at this same position that Doug Adams, postulated in his books, is that the difficulty of engaging with AI is how do we ask questions that are both broad and open-ended to get a nuanced understanding of the data that the AI provides to us, but how are we succinct enough that we don't get a massive hallucinations, or we don't get an answer to a question that we had no interest in answering? So it's an interesting problem. So, we know that SolarWinds has spent a great deal of time and is committed to spending a great deal of time and effort and treasure to be able to get us the broadest data sets possible. And I think, or at least I hope, that AI is the answer to broadening that even further, answering the questions that you have in a much better way. So I very much thank you for your time. I very much thank you for listening. And I very, very much thank SolarWinds for the opportunity to speak to you.
Thanks, Doug. You're the man. We really appreciate it. And by the way, you're right. The answer really is 42. Thanks again. We've shared some exciting new innovations with you today that make our world-class observability offerings even more comprehensive and robust, so you can solve your complex hybrid IT operations challenges confidently and precisely. What we want you to take away from it all is actually quite simple. Almost everyone out there has both on-premises and cloud-based technology. At SolarWinds, we're hyper-focused on being your partner in delivering world-class visibility and management over your entire hybrid IT environments and the flexibility to meet you wherever you are on your journey. That's what we mean when we say observability anywhere, precision everywhere.
That's exactly right, Brian. Our customers' feedback is very clear. While some customers will move to the cloud and plan to be fully in the cloud, most will remain hybrid. We have the solutions to meet them wherever they may be in their hybrid IT journey and serve their current and future needs. We've worked incredibly hard over the last 3 years to build an observability solution that does exactly that. We are very proud of the progress we have shared with you in today's announcements and the enhancements our teams continue to deliver. My commitment to all of you is that we will continue to retain the best of what made us a leader in IT performance management, continually evolve by listening and learning, and grow by addressing your needs better than anyone else.
And look, if you're one of those rare 100% cloud-native organizations, don't worry. We have you covered too with our SolarWinds Observability SaaS option, which provides unprecedented monitoring and observability for cloud-native environments. Today's announcements are another step in our continued commitment to helping you improve how you manage the complexities of your diverse hybrid IT ecosystems. We're always listening to our customers because you're the voice of our product strategy and the heartbeat of SolarWinds. We hope to see you at some of our upcoming events around the world. Come see us to learn more about all these awesome updates and talk about what's coming next, or share your unique challenges with us. You just may see your request answered at a future SolarWinds Day event. Thank you so much for attending today. We hope you'll visit SolarWinds.com to learn more about today's announcements and all the other great products and services we have to make your hybrid IT journey even better. See you later. Thank you.